Hi, welcome back. I'm Dr. Tyrone Ellis, and today we're going to be speaking with a guest panelist about pastoral care and COVID-19 on this edition of Can I Get a Witness? Hello, I'm Dr. Tyrone Ellis, and welcome back to another edition of Can I Get a Witness? This platform is designed to address and to discuss theological topics and Christian doctrines and answer questions that a lot of Christians and non-Christians have about life and the Bible. I am super excited about my guest panelist today. I've known her for about 8 or 9 years now. She grew up on the south side of Chicago, my hometown, and she's a founder and the CEO of J.C. Hodge and Associates, a professional counseling ministry. She's a certified pastoral psychotherapist, serving both religious and the secular sector. She holds ecclesiastical endorsements from the United Church of Christ, and she holds credentials in the Apostolic Church of God. She was an early childhood educator in the Chicago public school system. She's a graduate of the Chicago Theological Seminary. She's a member of the American Association of Pastoral Counselors. She's licensed in the state of Illinois as a clinical professional. She's a mental health professional, which I need every day. And last but not least, she hosts her own radio show, Real Relations with Dr. JC on WDJYFM.com, based out of Atlanta, Georgia. Here is none other than the Dr. Janice C. Hodge. Give it up, listening audience, for Dr. Hodge.
I am so excited to be with you, Dr. Tyrone Ellis. Congratulations on Can I Get a Witness? And thank you for being such a big part of my radio show, Real Relations with. Thank you so much. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. So I just want to say welcome to Can I Get a Witness? And it's a pleasure to have you on our show today. I first of all want to say this, Dr. Hodge, your biography is extensive. So can you tell us a little bit more about you? How did you get into pastoral care, and how did you get into pastoral psychotherapy?
Well, you know what? That's a nice long story. I think that pastoral care, pastoral counseling, pastoral psychotherapy, which is one umbrella here that we're going to be speaking about. I think it was in me from early in life. Now, see, my family is very strong in the Black Southern tradition. Being from Louisiana, Mississippi, I mean, absolutely, very supportive of the best of Black values and the overall struggle for humanity that Black people have had. So, long story short, they raised me up on those values, and so now, see, I grew up, and I remember, I was 5. My family made sure I knew who Dr. King was, and see now. So I can say to you, I was living in his time. So, and I am glad about it. So I can say, even though I was 5, I like to say to them, Dr. Martin Arthur Luther King. I remember folks in my household got upset with me. No, not Dr. Martin Arthur Luther King. It's Dr. Martin Luther King. Long story short, it began there. But I think somehow from that point, I began to take in the experience of my people, Black people. And I always had a kind of a sensitivity to that struggle. And I remember just kind of watching people on the street and paying attention to how they were doing and, how they may have been having a hard time. And I think that was very early in life. So so you fast forward me all the way into, oh, wow. So high school, all those years, Black Revolution. That was big. I bet who knows about the Black Revolution now, right? Well, wait, there was a Black Revolution, and so college years, after the assassination of Dr. King and Malcolm X, then the Black Panthers were strong, and so going into college, I was like, wow, there they are on the streets of Chicago selling the Black Panther Party paper. Sister, come get this Black Panther Party paper. Of course, you couldn't say no because you'd feel guilty, right? But I was always inspired by their fortitude. So I'm in college. Those are the years of the Black Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody had that big fro, and you had to wear your pick in your hair and all that kind of stuff. That was all important. James Brown was doing his I'm Black and I'm Proud. And man, those were some good years. So anyhow, all of that formulated who I am. Then I got married. And if I didn't think that going into counseling before was important, and I had always been thinking of it,
Mm-hmm.
That relationship was terrible. And so I needed some real support. And so I made up in my mind that my support was going to be the church and counseling.
Mm-hmm.
And then this and that happened, and look, voila. Here we have the call to ministry. So there we have it. So that's been over a period of life. I think it's just overall my entire life. It wasn't something that just happened at the last minute. Does that answer the question?
Yes, ma'am. Wow, thank you. That was beautiful, and I'm glad to hear all that information because a lot of young people need to know how to build up their what their life is about. Sometimes they forget where they come from, and that's what we're talking about today. So, listen, there's a lot going on in the world today, but I want to specifically focus on pastoral care and the pandemic of COVID-19, which is something that had just taken our nation, taken the world by dominance.
Yeah.
So from a pastoral care specialist position, how has this pandemic changed the way pastors can care for their congregations now that we have social distancing and we can't meet in the churches right now currently? And what are some of the ways the pastors can still care for their congregations, would you say?
Wow. See, I think, I think that pastors are uncomfortable with having to be socially distant, which means now for some people haven't done it yet, which means electronic communication. We got to be online because we cannot be together. And I know there are some pastors who are really uncomfortable with that. And I've heard some say, and I agree, the church is essential. And I agree that, it should be honored as such. But do we have to be in the same location in order to be church? I don't think so. So if we look at the example of Jesus, we can see you don't have to be in a sanctuary to have church. I mean, let's go to any of his travels. And we know now you don't have to be in the church, the building, to be available to people. And we talk about pastoral care. That's what that's about. It's about relationships with people, deep, caring relationships with the people you serve. And so, all right, so we're going to be online. So that means, ideally, the people who you're talking to, right? You have some knowledge because you've done your work while you were in the building. So you know who you're talking to. And so you can still be very personal and you can still be creative. And so people can still have a place to go, a chat room. If they want prayer, they can go to the chat room, leave their name over there, and there can be special prayer. And you can have people organized, prayer warriors organized for special prayer. You can still organize and say, if you would like to have Bible study, we're going to have it on this day and time over in this chat room. So it's still creativity that can happen. It is a change, but it's a wise one at this time because the whole issue of COVID is not a joke. That is not a joke. It's a very disturbingly, frighteningly illness. It's disturbing and frightening. That's what I'm trying to say. So I hope, tell me, am I making sense here?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So, it's really ironic because with technology of today, we have, we have conference calling, you mentioned chat rooms. There's a lot of avenues that pastors have, believe it or not, that they don't actually realize. And what some of it is, some of our older congregations, some of our older pastors, I don't like to use the word older, but our more seasoned pastors who are just used to coming to a physical building, holding a service, now have to revert to the technologies of today, which is like conference calling, actually picking up a computer, learning how to use these type of platforms that we're on right now, which are conference calls, video calls. And so I believe that technology has its place also now in the church, because a lot of pastors in the past were kind of hesitant of using modern technology for this stupid reason.
Yeah.
So I think COVID-19 has actually brought them to the point where now they have to use it. And so how does you as a pastoral counselor, when they come to you and say, hey, what do I do right now? How do you get them to get into technology?
Oh, well, that's an adjustment. And I know it's an adjustment for people. And you know what? You got to coddle. I think you got to coddle people towards it. And so, you know what? I know it's new, but it's not as bad as you think. You ought to try it one time and just see. You know, I'll walk you through it. If you have problems, you know, we can talk about it on the phone, and really, just really kind of nurture people all the way through it. It really, it's like watching TV. The only thing is we're on it.
That's right.
You turn the television, saying it's the same concept. You turn your computer and put in your numbers. You turn to a station, and then you see you get in contact with your audience. So yeah, it's an adjustment. We don't deny that. God willing, it's a temporary adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
However, as we notice what's going on out here right now, everybody in the protesting, everybody's being really close together. Some states couldn't wait for the virus rates to go down. They had to go out and go to the beach. So we know we're going to get hit with another thing. So here we go. So ideally, it was going to be for a short time. So we got a little window here, but it's going to come back on us in a couple of months.
Well, speaking about social distancing, for those pastors that decided not to comply with some of the mandates given by their state officials, were they right or wrong, you know, not applying to them? Or were they putting their congregation in harm's way?
Listen, you know what? There's just a big word called narcissism. All of us, and let me say this really clearly, all of us have narcissism. The question is it healthy narcissism? Some of that was not healthy narcissism, because the reality is this disease is a real problem. This is not a joke. And unfortunately, Black people in particular are the ones who are most susceptible to it. So those Black pastors and their congregations, those pastors put their congregations at risk. And you know, I'm sure many of us have read on Facebook the different amount, I don't want to say amount, the different numbers of Black pastors who have lost their life through all of this. So no, it's not a joke. It's something. I don't know why people think this is not real. I don't know why they think that. Is that because they don't see the president wearing a mask? Don't believe that, baby. Don't believe that at all. Oh no. Because under his watch, a lot of people have lost their life because he was not attentive to this problem. This is a very serious issue. So anyway, I'm talking so much I probably lost where I was going. So yeah, no. So pastors have opened up their church, but at this time, it's not of God to do so.
So
Because
that leads me to my next question then. Now that some states, I don't think it's all states, I think that some states have begun to reopen. Actually, here in Ohio, where I'm at, they begin to reopen. I don't know about Chicago. I don't know if they started reopening yet, but how does that affect the church, especially Black churches in the communities where COVID-19 was at a high exposure? I mean, what do I tell a pastor that wants to open up their church right now in an area that's concentrated with high COVID-19? What do you say?
Yeah. Well, you know what? We really got to think that what it means to be pastors is shepherding, especially pastoral care. It's shepherding, which means you're watching over, making sure your sheep are safe and sound. And if that anxious pastor just, you know, whatever it means to him or her that they've got to get back in there in spite of the dangers, then we want to say stand down. And wait till the danger passes. In fact, it's even written biblically. You know, go in your house until this danger passes over. And so, and isn't it interesting how nothing that we experience nothing that we experience actually is unknown to reading in the scripture. We can find it in the scriptures. So long story short, stand down. I remember it's temporary, and the faster you do what's right in terms of the health care of your sheep, the faster we can get back in and go back to who we used to be within church.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You think so?
Oh,
I don't know if I share with you that in February of this year I had an adventure, right? And so I had a doc who prescribed wrong medicine to me. This is a case where I didn't need any medicine. Nevertheless, she gave me Lasix, and I want people to know it, and ibuprofen, because I did have swelling in my leg. But always remember, everybody, Lasix is for complex illnesses. So if you're not living with complex illnesses, never take Lasix, and definitely don't take it with ibuprofen. Don't ever do that. So anyhow, I did because she told me to, and it caused some problems. It was one night in February. I had to be rushed to the hospital in an ambulance, and I stayed there 5 days. And then they said, "Well, we can't send you home because your foot is not working right. You need physical therapy." And so I had to go to rehabilitation. So I was there for 6 weeks.
wow.
And while I was there, guess what was going on? That was the rise of the virus.
Wow.
Rise of the virus. And so, you know what? I said, I believe God has me here for a purpose. I can tell. So long story, I had wonderful roommates. I had 4 because I was there 6 weeks. Most people are not there 6 weeks if they're anywhere ambulatory. So 3 of them came down with the virus. So I saw them personally walk through, and when I left, they were still there. So I saw it up close and personal. I saw people getting sick with it. I was there for the cold blues. Man, when they shut everything down, so nobody can come in because of the virus. Oh, it was quite an experience. So if I were going to be confused by should we go to church or not, I'm not now. Not at all confused by, oh no. No. Don't do that, folks. Oh my God. And it's for some people, it's so painful. Let me say to everybody in long-term care is not, quote, elderly, unquote. You got people, there were gunshot wounds, car accidents. Let's get perspective. My goddaughter-in-law, I should say goddaughter-in-law, is only 23, and she came down with it. Wow. So don't believe the hype about younger people can't get it, or the only people in long-term care or nursing facilities are only people there are old people. Oh no, it's every age group. Now, and don't believe that it's like the flu. It may start like the flu, but in 2 or 3 days you're gonna know this is not the flu. Wow, this is not the flu. Painful. The testing is painful. Just don't get into it, folks. Just don't let yourself get there. So no, don't bring your congregation together. Don't do that. My home church is going to make sure they are opening up very under guidelines, but everybody has to have a test before they come in. So nobody can come unless they've had their C-19 test.
That is very good point there. I like that.
Mm-hmm. You know, yeah, and I said yes. Don't do it. Don't do it, people. Don't. And I flashed my last roommate. She flashed across my mind right there. When she had the high fever, I had just come back in. I was actually hanging out over in the computer room. Came back in, and she said, "Oh, they sent me back from physical therapy because I had this high fever." Oh, I said, but then I began to think. I said, "Oh," and maybe about 5 minutes later, her side was hurting very badly. She in so much pain. She was calling for the nurse. And she started to throw up in her cup. And so, oh boy, this is not going to be good. The nurse, everything was quiet. I thought they weren't going to pay attention. And suddenly they flashed through there like, oh man, they flew in there. And they moved me out. They changed the whole room. They changed the floor. They put up a whole new wing. Oh my God. I mean, this is all in one day. People, don't play with it. That's all I got to say.
Wow.
Can I get a witness? Don't play with it.
Well, Dr. Hodge, you're funny.
Yeah, by the way, I had to go and I had to be quarantined. So let's add that to it. Yeah, I had to be quarantined. Yeah. Go ahead.
This world is changing. Excuse me. This world has changed and is ever changing even today. And
Yes.
so with that, I want to shift gears just for a moment here. And I'm going to mention some names to you. All right.
Yep.
Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor,
Oh,
George Floyd.
yes.
From what perspective, talking about pastoral care still, we still in pastoral care, should a black pastor talk to his congregation about what's going on in the world right now because of those names? What do you think?
So you talk about pastoral care, you're always talking about taking care of the sheep. So one important matter for those of us who do pastoral care, counseling, and or psychotherapy is when there's danger to self or others, we move. We deal with the crisis. We don't pretend like it's not there. We manage it. So pastors who want to move forward with the idea of pastoral care, then you see this kind of abuse, of this fatal abuse that's happening as they struggle with the people you serve. You got to move. You got to figure out how you're going to address it. You organize your congregation, and how will they then use their strengths to address the problem? Everybody, it should be all hands on deck. Let me say it a better way: all souls on deck. And you know what? Here's the thing: the best way to deal with mental health issues, about depression, anxiety, all that stuff, the best way to deal with it is through faith resources and faith discipline. This is why it's real important. In pastoral care, you remind the pastor. If you are the senior pastor, you're doing pastoral care, then you remind the pastor it's real important that we keep people in the discipline, because that is the way that the best way for people to heal when they have losses from C-19, to heal when they feel isolated because they can't do church the way they used to do it, heal from whatever it may be. But then we have this issue of this legalized murder. I don't know. I'm not going to say Arbery. They're Klansmen. I'm not going to. I kind of want to say it's legalized, but I won't, because not supposed to really. That kind of crap. Yeah, you got to run and protect people, make people aware. Everybody should be doing something to move their people forward and out of danger. Teaching the children. They used to have what was called a Saturday school. Children who are black are being a Saturday school, so they can learn their history. And they can be taught that while this is happening now, it's on the news now, it's not new. It goes way back. It goes back before Emmett Till. I mean, it's so many names. You don't even know all these names. There's so many names. So yeah, it should be taught, but not only taught about what's happened in those destructive ways, but tell them how we've overcome. Tell them how we've overcome. Yes,
you
sir.
and I have talked on your radio station about past incidents that happened, police brutality, killing of young black men and women. Now that we are seeing a more collective gathering of peoples, not only black people, but there are whites now begin to join us, brown Americans, Asian Americans. Now that we're starting to see that people are now seeing our struggle as a people in our congregation. If you have mixed congregations, like I'm a black pastor and I have some Caucasian in my ministry, how do I address those who don't really understand what's going on? How do we use pastoral care for them?
They've got to be taught too, because they're part of that history. The tragic news is some people who are part of their ethnic reality were part of these bad times in our history. So we got to know the truth. Don't they say the truth will set you free? Isn't that written someplace?
That's right.
So yeah, they got to go ahead and know the truth. It doesn't matter if they're white. Someone just asked me to do another Zoom conference, so with white members, and they want to know what should they do so black people feel heard. Well, you can start by listening. How about that? I'm not feeling good about that question. What would you want if you were in a situation?
Right.
Why are we even asking that question? And so to even ask the question, it says to me, you don't see me as a human being who would suffer through this kind of thing the same way you would if you were going through it. I got an issue with that. So I got issues with that. Even the question. Go ahead.
So this morning I was watching the news, and Senator Kamala Harris came on, and they were talking about defunding the police department. And now we're going to try to end it with this one. Now, a lot of people in congregations hear that word defunding and they automatically go to the extreme, thinking that defunding means absolution or it means abolish. It doesn't mean that. What defunding means is taking funds from a known resource like the police department and putting it into community programs that would help young Black, brown children in some type of community service so that they can begin to have a positive output instead of just allowing the system to rotate itself or to go through the system over and over again that is broken. So as a pastor, how do I get people in my congregation on board to support defunding of the police, if you agree with that?
Yeah, I think the word is where people kind of get lost. I think there's another word that we can use that be better understood. I think reallocation. So, and then of some funds, I don't think anybody in their right mind is going to say we don't need police. Of course we do.
Right.
But but what can be reallocated? Because they do have excess of funds here in Chicago. They got a little special extra building they had where they jail people, and of course, a lot of people have been jailed wrongly. So they, they have a lot of money to use. How about, I would love to see the juvenile detention homes brought up to date. Wouldn't it be nice if those children who've already suffered so much, who get into that system, could actually live in a place that was decent? What about that? Yeah, so I agree with it. But again, I would use the word reallocation.
Yeah, I think the wording is what throws a lot of people off. And if we can, like you say, reword that, it probably would be received better. And people would think, oh, they're trying to get rid of the police. No, it's not getting rid of the police. But Dr. Hodge,
who wants
listen,
that?
No, nobody wants that. Listen, our program only lasts about 30 minutes, so I'm not out of words, but I am definitely almost out of time. So
okay.
I want to thank you again for coming on today and sharing your story with us. I want to thank you for giving us your knowledge on pastoral counseling, pastoral psychotherapy. And again, I just love being in your presence. You were my mentor. Believe it.
Oh, what an honor.
And so if the people wanted to get a hold of you for any reason, if they just wanted some counseling, if they wanted to be a part of your program or get some information from you, where can they find you at?
Well, of course, I'm going to say find me on Facebook and LinkedIn, Janice C. Hodge, and look for that sunflower. Anytime you see Janice C. Hodge, the name, and a sunflower, that's me. Connect there. Also, you can just email grow@jchodge.com, grow, or call 773-752-GROW. But my social media definitely will give everybody my phone number and email address and all that good stuff. So I would love to hear from your audience. Much success to you, my friend, my wonderful mentee. I look forward to seeing you and having you again as my guest.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Hodge. And again, I want to thank my listening audience for tuning into my YouTube channel, Can I Get a Witness? And I'll see you all again next Friday for another episode of Can I Get a Witness? God bless.
Peace.